What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Nerd Corner. I'm Little Sasakor, the kid that never knows best, and in today's video I'm here to talk to you about my whole E3 experience, getting on a plane for the first time, flying out to Cali, getting to meet the homies like Rhymestyle, Afro Senju, and Kuba, going to E3, just everything, because these were all brand new experiences for me. It's a lot of stuff that was really exciting, really enjoyable, and stuff that I want to share, with you guys, because you guys seem to like when I sit down in front of the camera and just talk with y'all, so I'm gonna just sit down in front of the camera and just talk with y'all, and I think these are things that's, people who care about me as a person would like to hear about and see, what I thought and what the whole experience was like. Because I didn't really vlog while I was out there. I didn't take nearly as many pictures, and I didn't record really almost any footage while I was out there, because I just was so overwhelmed and just so focused on living in the moment and just enjoying the experience that creating content of any kind wasn't even really on my mind. And even though I had a phone and camera on me at all times, I didn't really use it that much. But yeah, I'm here to talk to you guys today about it, so let's get into it. So getting on an airplane for the first time, what was that like? Was I nervous? Was I scared? Was it fun? Was it, what was it like? Since I've never actually flown anywhere before, I've always wanted to. And for those of you who aren't aware, because I don't know if you've ever been able to tell from the background of my videos, I usually try to get rid of all background noise, but I live really close to an airport. The airport's 15 minutes away. It's damn near down the street, so there's planes flying overhead all the time. So I see planes all the time. I've been very close to planes. I've been to my own airport a couple of times, but I've never actually been inside an airplane. So it was something that personally I was looking forward to, but I had people like Rhymestyle and my dad warning me yo, you might be kind of nervous, you might be kind of scary, whatever. And I wasn't bugging about it at all. I was very much looking forward to it, because I've always wanted to see the view from an airplane window for myself. And fortunately for your boy, you got that window seat, you feel me? So you already know. But yeah, it wasn't really daunting for me at all to actually be on a plane. I wasn't scared at all. I actually found it a lot of fun. And then once I had my fun looking out the window, whatever, your boy hit that Ski Master slump guy and was asleep for the whole flight. But the actual takeoff was dope. The landing is dope. It kind of feels like a roller coaster, and I love roller coasters, so that's, for me, takeoff and landing feels like a roller coaster. But when you're actually in midair, you're kind of just floating. It's really not that different from a regular car ride, except you got a little less leg room depending on how tall you are, which for me is pretty tall because I'm 6'2", 6'3". But yeah, the biggest concern for me leading up to this wasn't about being on the airplane itself. It was just making sure that I didn't get lost in the airport, and maybe not even necessarily my own airport, because I'd been there before, so I kind of knew where I was supposed to go. And I got there really early, 2.5 hours early, just to make sure that I was on time, I didn't get lost or anything like that, make sure I had everything in order, because I'd never flown before. So I just wanted to make sure that I did everything right and just make sure I didn't, run out of time and miss my flight or anything crazy like that. My flight from where I live to Dallas got delayed by, I don't know, 20-30 minutes, but the thing is 20 minutes is all I had from the time that my plane lands in Dallas to get on the next flight to San Diego. So long story short, I ended up being the very last person to board my flight in Dallas, and I just barely made it. My biggest concern of this entire trip almost came true. I almost missed my flight. I don't know if they would have waited any longer, or if they would have been able to, somehow get me another flight arrangement, or whatever the case may have been. But when I tell you I had to run from literally one end of the Dallas airport all the way to the exact opposite, to the very last gate at the very end, and the flight was waiting on just me, and they were ready to take off at any moment. It was just, I was the last person on the flight, and as soon as I sat down, it took all of 2.37 minutes for them to take off. To me, while E3 itself was a dope experience, and getting my hands on some games a little earlier than most of the world is able to, that was all cool. But the illest part about this whole experience, this whole trip for me, was getting to meet my homies in real life, because I've been friends with Rhymestyle, Afro, Kuba for a couple of years now, but I've never actually got to meet them in person. And so, pulling up to Rhyme's house when I hopped out the Uber with Nano, because we caught the Uber together to his house, that was yo, that's my nigga. He's actually as ugly in person as he is, online. But yeah, meeting Rhyme and then meeting Afro, who I didn't see until we actually got to E3 the next day. It was also dope. It was also dope. Linking up with Nanogenics, if you guys know who that is. I'll link his channel in the description down below, by the way, because I think I actually just saw him upload a video about his first time at E3 right before I sat down to record this. So I got to meet Nanogenics. I got to meet Rhymestyle. I actually stayed at Rhymestyle's house for the time I was out there. I got to meet his girlfriend, Kayla, aka Kira Bug. I met Kuba and Afro at E3. Then there was Pineapple Head from Shonen Games. There was Anime Analyst, and I got to meet Dimitri from Bondi for the first time in person. And there was just so many people, a lot of people. The Truth, Papa Birdo. I'm trying to name as many people as possible, but I don't necessarily want to forget anyone. So if I forgot your name, my bad. But yeah, I met a lot of people who I've been interacting with over the internet for a very long time, but I had never seen face to face, and we finally got to meet face to face. And most of these people I met at the Bondi booth where I got to play, you know, Jump Force, My Hero Academia One's Justice. I got to test out what FighterZ was like on the Switch. Code Vein was there. I got to play Soul Calibur. We had some great food, some great laughs, and just all around some great times. And it's an experience that I enjoyed a lot, and I hope that I really do hope I get to do again, not only just next year at E3, but hopefully sometime again this year. We just get to meet up, link up again at some event, whether it be another convention or a tournament or whatever the case is. I just hope that I get to see my niggas again, because we had a good time. We had a really good time, and it was short-lived, but it was honestly one of the best experiences of my entire life. Another thing that I want to mention is that there was never any doubt in my mind that all my homies would be this way when I finally did meet them, because I don't think we'd be friends for this long, even if it was just over the internet, if this weren't going to be the case. But Endakuba, Afro, Rhymestyle, Nano, all these guys, the same way that they act in their videos, the same way that you see them portray themselves on Twitter, they are the exact same person in real life. Like, I got to meet them, and we talk on Discord all the time, we talk on Twitter all the time, and all those same interactions carried on over to real life. Like, there was virtually no difference between us talking on Discord and talking in real life. Like, it was just regular shit just going down the same way it always was, except in person. So it was just like, it was more energy. The energy was like almost tangible. It was great, man. It was really great. As far as games go, I don't think I actually played any games at E3 outside of what they had over at the Bandai booth, because that's where I spent the most time at, because I actually had a little, like, I don't know what you call it, I guess a VIP badge of sorts that gave me like access to like little lounge area that was cut off from the general public, where you had people like Leffen and Akil, for example, from, you know, the gaming community, and then even rappers like Soulja Boy and Lil Yachty, who were back there hanging out, playing some of the games and stuff. So that was pretty dope as well, and that was actually a pretty dope highlight, just getting to hang out and meet people. Like, for me, you know, seeing Lil Yachty and Soulja Boy, it's like, it wasn't like a huge deal. It was cool. It was like, oh shit, rappers are here. That's dope. Who would have expected that? But I was more excited about meeting Nakil and Leffen in person, because those are people who are closer to, you know, my community, or the community that I'm in. You know, those are guys who I watch compete in Dragon Ball FighterZ all the time. So getting to chat with them, and I actually got to play, you know, a few games of FighterZ with Nakil and chop it up with him for a bit. That was dope. That was really dope, and that was one of the more exciting encounters I had out there, was meeting the two of them. Hopefully it won't be the last time that I see some of those people, because after going out there and having this experience, I'm like, I gotta step it up. Like, I gotta make sure that I'm able to do this again, like a lot more. When it does come to the games though, I think the game that I had the most fun and the game that I was most impressed by while I was out there was Soul Calibur 6. Obviously, you know, me being a big fighting game fan, that was a game that I was very much looking forward to, and it didn't even cross my mind that I was gonna get the chance to play that until we were actually on the way there, and Nano mentioned it, and I was like, you're right, I'm gonna get to play Soul Calibur. Yo, so I played that, and that was the game I had the most fun with. But I will say Jump Force and My Hero Academia One's Justice both surprised me with how dope those games look and how much fun that they were to play. Because, you know, when it comes to like these anime arena fighters, I usually don't have very high expectations, especially with Jump Force, because at first glance it just looks like, you know, another J-Stars, and J-Stars is a game that was fun for a little while, but it wasn't exactly what I would call a good game, and it didn't last very long. It had pretty much no longevity when it released. Much to my surprise though, both of those games actually exceeded my expectations in terms of how fun they were to play, especially Jump Force, because we only just got that announcement, like, what, it was like a day or two before I actually got to play it. Like, the announcement at E3 had just happened literally 1 or 2 days before I was out there at the Bandai booth at E3 playing the game. So it has to be an extremely very early rough build where almost nothing has been completed yet. Like, I'm sure they don't have, you know, even 50% of that game done, maybe even 20% of that game done yet they had a playable version of it there. So I was like, yo, this is already like this cool. I can only imagine what it's going to be like once they actually come closer to, you know, finishing the game and being able to release it. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to Jump Force more now than I was before I got the chance to play it. And the same can be said for My Hero Academia One's Justice, because even though the game looks really good, I was not sold on the gameplay, just because, like I said, arena fighters aren't usually my thing. But after actually playing it, I was like, huh, it's not bad. It's not bad. I could definitely see the game being more fun than I originally was going to give it credit for once it actually releases. Also, I guess I'll just toss in that FighterZ on the Switch played pretty well. I would say it's not as good as it is on PS4. For one thing, the game was running at 30 frames per second. I don't know if that's just because it's not fully optimized and like ready to be released yet, or what, and how much they still have left to work on it, or if that version of it that we had, you know, at E3 is going to be the final version. I don't imagine it was, because that was like a demo build that they had specifically for E3. So I don't imagine that it's fully optimized and stuff yet. And I will say that the input delay in the game was more noticeable than it is on PS4. You know, as someone who's put hundreds of hours into the PS4 version, I was able to definitely notice a difference with my inputs when I was playing the game. And it wasn't just the frame rate, like it was actually like a noticeable delay between the time I would hit the button and the time the move would actually come out. All in all, I would say I had a pretty amazing time. Being at E3 was kind of like, It was like being at an amusement park for the first time, like a brand new amusement park where they got all these amazing rides and prizes, and you're linking up with all these homies that you're meeting for the first time, and it was great. It was really great. Actually, that's the same like analogy I gave when I was there. I was like, because you know, I had certain people that were asking me like, so this is your first E3, and I was like, yeah. So what do you think? I'm like, it's kind of like being at an amusement park. You got really long lines for these rides, but then there's prizes at some of the places, and you get to do things here that you can't do anywhere else, and it was really cool. It was really cool. That pretty much wraps this up, though. I mean, I could sit here and talk for probably hours about the entire trip, everything that I got to do, all the amazing food that I got to eat, all the people I got to talk to, the games that I got to play. I could go more in depth about Jump Force and My Hero Academia Ones of Justice and FighterZ on Switch and all that good stuff, but I don't really want to make this video too long. I can see I've already been recording for over 20 minutes. I'm gonna try to edit it down because I don't want this to be, you know, a super terribly long video, but I just thought I would share some of my thoughts and my feelings, you know, on my experience, the whole E3 thing, going on a plane for the first time, going to San Diego, meeting Rhymestyle, Afro, Kuba, Nano, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end things off here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you have any questions about anything, whether it be in regards to E3, me being on the airplane, me meeting Rhyme, being in San Diego, and anything at all that I talked about in this video, anything you want to know more about, feel free to ask me down below. Follow me on Twitter at LotusAsakura. Hit this video a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for all the awesome content I plan to bring you, and with all the news that's pretty much all of today. And remember, nothing can happen to you swing the bat. Later.